Hey, what's up, y'all? This is the Brown Liquor and Cigars podcast, and I'm Carlos, and we got John.
What up?
Hey, and we have back on the show again, but together on the same show for the first time, Tracey
Hello, hello.
and Skylar.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
All right. Thank y'all for being on. So today we're going to talk about something that I ran across. I won't go into the whole details of it. But the concept of, is it better to be in someone's head versus their bed? And what I mean by that is, would you rather be the person who is always thought about, or the person who is actually getting the sex, like, you know, in the bed and that's it, but you might not be always on their mind? And Tracey, I'll start with you.
Oh. I'm like, why can't we have the best of both worlds? that was my initial thought.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
I want to be on your brain, and I want to be anyway. That is a good question though, because so for me, from a female perspective, of course, obviously we want to be on your mind, right? And if we're thinking about being in bed, yeah, we want that too, but we don't want to be just a sex symbol. So if it comes down to all we're doing is sex, I'm like, okay, do you think about me at all other than sex?
Okay.
But still, I think both.
You just want both.
I want both.
You can't choose one?
I
Okay,
want both.
okay,
I don't want to choose. I want both.
Scholar, what about you? What do you think?
For me, well, if I had to choose,
Which one would you rather be?
for me, I would say I'd rather be in your head, because if I'm in your head, I'm going to get in your bed. So
Right.
it doesn't
true.
matter, because the dude that's really just, on the side piece, that's just only in the bed, he's there for a purpose and a reason, and then he's gone.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
the
Yeah.
dude that's in your head, he's still going to get in your bed too. So for me, it's a win-win. I get both. I'm always on your mind, and I'm always going to always be in your bed. There's always going to be a spot for me.
For both.
That's a good
Okay.
point.
You would want both, but if you had to choose the
If I had to
head
choose,
and the head.
I would do the head, because it's going to give me both.
True.
Yeah, if I'm on your mind like that, to where you can't stop thinking about me, usually with a woman, that will lead to the bedroom.
Okay. All right. John, what do you think?
Okay, so I have a question. So, with the head part, have you already been in the bed and you are asking?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, are you just saying you haven't been in the bed in either situation, but would you rather be in the head or the bed?
In this situation, sex has happened on both scenarios.
Okay,
But-
so sex has happened on both. Okay, well, if
But-
that's the case, I would want, which I think everybody, men and women, would want to be in the head for ego reasons. Yeah, because you want to feel like they want to come back for seconds or something like that. So I think you want to be in the head. I
Yeah.
would want to be in the head.
Yeah, okay, I agree. And I think, too, you bring up a good point, though, because sometimes somebody can be in your head, you may have never had sex with them, but they still have kind of like a mental, I don't want to say control, because that sounds kind of extreme.
Like a mental hold.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, mental hold. Yeah, they have that on you. So, yeah, I think that's definitely very valid. And Tracey, I want to ask you a question, too.
Okay.
So, from the female perspective, and the reason why I'm asking you this is because we all know the stereotypes about like female intuition, like, and you can pick up on certain things. So if you're with a guy, and this could be any woman, not necessarily you, but do you think women can always tell when they're just the bed chick and not in the head chick?
Absolutely.
Or
Unless
does it
they're
take time
just
to tell
very
that?
naive.
Really?
Yeah,
So you
but
usually
there are
know?
some women that are very naive and they think that they are more than just the bed chick.
Right.
And they
But
really
they're really
think
not.
the guy is interested in them. But we all know, and you all know as men, you can create whatever scenario you want at that time. So, and what I mean by that is if you want good sex, then you know the words to say, the things to do at that moment in time to get what you want. But that may not be how you really truly feel. So for a naive woman, they're going to believe that every single time. Someone that is not as naive or even maybe more experienced, they're being like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're doing.
Right.
So let me go ahead and give you what you want and
Right.
let's keep it moving. But if
And
it gets
that's it.
down to it where, you know, you're like, okay, let's stop this game where you want it to be something different. I mean, that's still a conversation. But
See,
yeah, I think women know.
I think it's like I want to hit on, like you said, men say what they think you want to hear, which usually is the "I love you" word and things like that. So if I'll say for me, I've never had to say "I love you" to get any. Really, for me, the best scenarios that I've had for sexual encounters is telling them the truth, because then I feel like the person that you said, "Yo, this is just what this is," and if they want to be in your head, they're gonna give you their best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Just
it's
trying
not
to
gonna,
make sure. Yeah.
Yes, they're gonna make sure that they throw out all the stops. It ain't gonna be the little games that women play where I'm not gonna do everything. So I want to save something. No, don't do that, because let me just go and let you know now, you might not get another chance because you're not in my head like that.
Right.
Just your one shot.
And I think that's really interesting that you bring up too, because I think sometimes people think, and a lot of times it is true, that if the sex is really good, or I think a lot of people think like this, if depending on who you're having sex with, it's like, all right, I'm gonna give them the, like, we just hooking up sex versus relationship sex. But if
It's
you
a
get the
difference.
relationship sex on a hookup, then sometimes that might not always mean that person wants to be in your head.
So what does the hookup sex include?
Bang, bang, you done.
Wham, bam, thank you, next.
I guess. I mean, I don't.
There's no connection.
Yeah, there's no
hookup
connection.
sex.
Yeah.
It's straight lust. It's I saw you, I liked what I was looking
there's
at.
no
You saw me,
connection.
you liked what you were looking at.
Yeah.
And we just gonna go at it.
Right.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much like, okay, you good, okay.
Yeah.
Let's
See
call
you
this
later.
Uber.
Yeah.
Let's
Same
call this
place,
Uber.
same time
Yeah.
next week. Oh, we're gonna switch it up.
Right,
Am I
right.
still gonna be Friday, or am I gonna be Wednesday next week? I'm just saying.
Like, what is it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Relationship sex is more. It's more of an emotional connection. It can still be like hookup sex, but to me, really, the difference is just what happens after that.
Right.
Like, I'm not looking at you like, you still here, huh?
Right. You're like,
How do I
all right.
politely get you out of my bed?
Well, you know,
Right.
I don't want to keep you. I know you got things to do.
Yeah.
That's
I'm actually
all.
off tomorrow. Oh, okay.
That's the line right there. So for me, I was real big on making sure I brought nobody back to my place. Like because I could always say, oh man, I got to go back, man. I got my kids. So I had kids early. So anytime I didn't want to do something or be somewhere,
You just
Yeah.
made it easy.
I got to go do something with my kids. You know, you can't argue with that. But then for a lot of women, I noticed if I use that excuse, they're like, "Oh, that's so sweet." You know, he come back. No, I'm not coming back. I'm good.
Nope.
Right.
See, now you're tripping. Now you're trying to get in my head.
Yeah.
I don't really want that.
Right.
So I'm just gonna leave, and you ain't gonna hear from me again.
It's just bad. That's wrong. But it's
Right.
true. It's
And that's
so
probably
true.
why I got all girls. So
Payback. I know one thing I used to do. Never said this out loud, but it was kind of petty, and I don't think like this anymore. But
Sure.
when I was younger and I used to date, I would pick like maybe 3 or 4 kinds of cologne that I really liked, like really nice colognes, and I would always switch them up because my thought was, if we break up, you're gonna have a hard time forgetting me because every dude you deal with is gonna
Dang.
smell. You'll be like, oh, now I'm
He
thinking
wore
about
that.
Carlos.
He wore that one too.
I know that was petty, but I
that's
did
trying to
used
get in
do
their
it.
head right,
Right,
there.
right.
I don't want you to ever smell another man and not think of me.
But I did used to do that, so
That's
yeah,
funny.
not proud of it, but I
That's
did.
funny.
But see, Carlos was trying to be in the head and the bed.
He was.
Now the
Yeah.
thing is, though, is like as an individual, which one causes the more damage, though? Because there's been times where you can have a dude or a woman in your head, but they just not knocking it down in the bed department. So what do you do with that?
I think when it's both and it's a toxic kind of relationship, that's dangerous because sometimes, so I've never been in this type of situation, but sometimes it's like the sex is really good and then the hair part is well, I guess literally. And
We'll say
figuratively.
mine. We'll say
Right. The
mine.
mind part is really good too. So it's like it's a double hold because it's like it's this physical sex hold and then it's a mental hold where I feel like if the sex is not that great, it's always easier to break away. To me, whether it's a situationship, relationship, whatever.
So I don't agree. I disagree with that. I think if they're in your head, regardless to what the sex is like, it's harder to break the head.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
'Cause
But
you're
I'm just
open.
saying, if
Yeah.
the sex is good, that's an added piece that makes it a little bit harder. I think.
Yeah.
If it's- yeah, but no, I agree with
I think
you.
if they're in your head, if the relationship bad, sometimes unless you just have a strong will and you can just break
Mm-hmm.
away from situations, it's somewhat hard to walk away from relationships
Yeah.
if they got you in the head. And you may physically not be in the relationship anymore. And I think that's what people think. They think, oh, I can break up with you and I'm done with you. But no, if you still thinking about them and still want to pick up the phone and you still stalking them on social media or you doing all of that type of stuff, they
Whoops.
still got you.
Right,
They
exactly.
still got you. So
Yeah.
you might as well just move on back in.
Not the great advice.
Right.
Tell me.
Unless it's an abusive
If you're-
relationship.
Right. If you're
Don't do
toxic
it.
and you're still thinking about that person,
Don't move back in.
Well, I mean, if they whooping your butt, don't move back in. But I'm just saying.
But,
you
yeah,
know,
that's the reality.
You
People,
invested
yeah.
all of this time and energy with someone that you shouldn't be with, probably won't be with. You know, so it's like, why did you even leave it if you still gonna give them you?
Well, I guess the
True.
thing is,
Yeah.
why can't you have both? Like if
what?
we always asking, well, what would you rather be? Well, if you have an open relationship, you can have both. You can have the person that's on your mind all the time, and then you can have the person that you just like having sex with. Which kind of sounds
open.
bad, like you don't want to have sex with the person that's on your mind, but
Right.
it's like, but you know, there's always somebody that like you just have that physical connection with, always.
Yeah.
Then you have the person that's just always on your mind. Let's say if you've been married for forever or whatever.
Right.
And you've been like your 40s and you're like, well, damn, you know what? We've been together for like 25 years. Let's just, open up and see what happens.
I don't think I would be
No.
secure enough to do that, honestly.
Right.
Because my thing is, if I've been with you like all these years, then yes, I know what you like, but at the same time, it's like there's a certain amount of lax that comes into play. I feel like with that, when people feel like they know you,
They get complacent.
yeah, they do. They
Yeah.
get complacent.
Yeah, it's
so a
human
new
nature.
person, it's like they can kind of pick up on maybe what you're missing. Because I think in a relationship, and I think this is how people always get in trouble with cheating, the person that they cheat with is always, they feel that missing part that they're not
They're
getting.
that 20%, the
Uh-huh.
80-20 rule.
Yeah,
They give
and I
you
think
that
people
20.
can like sniff it out. Like they
Yeah.
know, they can
Yeah.
sense what you're missing, I think, sometimes.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead,
I'll go. No, you
Okay.
go ahead.
But I think too with that though, sometimes people are not just sniffing. Sometimes they just bring something new and something fresh.
Yes.
And most
yeah,
times in
yeah.
relationships, we lose interest in the person that we're with. We still love them, we're still attracted to them, but mentally we're not interested in them.
Right.
Because most times you're not asking people, if you've been in a relation 10 years, 15 years, you're not asking them about what they're passionate about any longer. Because you think you
know.
already
Think
know
you
them.
know.
You
You're
assume they're
familiar.
not going to change.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
assume
But
they're not
and
gonna
that was
change.
my
Yeah.
point from going from, if you get married at 20 years old, you in your 40s, you looking at 20 years. So let's say you're faithful that whole 20 years. And if they come to you and say, hey, you know what, I want to try this, or I really would like to try this or that, and that spouse then says, well, nah, I really don't want to, or what's wrong with what we've been doing? Where does that put you in that relationship, Like, where do I have to go
What
now?
what is try this though? That's what I want to like. What does that mean?
Hell, I don't know.
Let's try this, some
It could-
new position.
let's-
Right.
Perfect. Okay, let's say there's a sex club or something,
Okay.
and we're like, hey, you know what? Let's just go to a sex club and check that out and see
Just to watch.
Just to watch.
Okay.
Of course, you're not saying I want to do this, I want to do that, or I want to be with somebody else. It's just like, hey, let's just go watch. Because see, with relationships, all of them start off great because you have that newness feeling. It's exciting, all that. But after time, like you said, you get complacent. You get bored because the person you assume that everything that you did 20 years ago, that you still knocking it down the same way. But your girl, your wife, your dude is like, oh, I know that move in their mind. Oh, she about to do this. Oh, he about to do that. And then it's no excitement no more.
Yeah, so that's the thing too. I think in both of those scenarios. So y'all said a lot, so I'm trying to remember it all. So first and foremost, I think you're absolutely right, Skylar, because people do get tired of the same old thing. So in relationships, period, especially if you're planning on going for the long haul, being together forever, marriage, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have to spice it up. You're going to have to change it up. You're going to have to be willing to do that. And I think that's probably where a lot of people mess up because they're not willing to do that, or they're just not open to it, or they don't even think about it. But then another thing that y'all said, so when you, well, from a female perspective, of course, when you have someone in your head or in your bed, there's going to be some potential overlap in both of those. So if they're in your head constantly, you want them to be in your bed eventually. Exactly. And if they're in your bed constantly, you want them to eventually be in your head if they're not already. So you run the risk in either one of those scenarios. So the example you said, well, why don't you just switch it up? Or there's going to be overlap.
I'm going to ask this here. So because is there really truly a separation in head and bed?
Yes.
And what I mean by that is if they're in your bed and they're repeatedly in your bed, they're in your head too, in some regard. And what I mean by that is we don't go back for trash sex.
Right.
We don't go back for trash sex. So it's something that they do when they're in our bed that make us think about them later, that make us want them later. So when I'm saying in your head, I don't necessarily mean. That's why I personally don't believe in one-night stands. I don't think there's a one-night stand because I think that when people have one-night stands, one of the two people is going to either want the other person. They may never ever say it, but they're going to be hoping that they called them the next day or unless it was just horrible.
I was going to say one-night stands usually don't change no phone number. You know what it is.
Right.
But because you don't exchange the telephone number doesn't mean that you don't want the continued.
But just because you go back doesn't mean you're in your head. See, you're assuming that they're just thinking about them. I could just be feeling like I want to get one in real quick, and I know with this person, I can do that and have fun doing it. So you're not necessarily on my mind. It's just, you know what? I went out, had a good time, might be a little faded. Let me call up old girl. We had fun last time. You're not on my mind. It's just I want to knock something down instead of going back to an empty apartment.
And there has to be something intriguing about that person. Like for me, I'm not just if I have a choice, I'm not gonna choose the person that did not intrigue me at all. Well, I'm not gonna have sex with you anyway. But if they just in
the bed, does intriguing matter?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
It does?
Yeah.
Yes, because if they didn't do something intriguing, they wouldn't be in my bed.
But that's in your head though, right?
It depends on how you feel.
It is to a small extent though. I mean, it's yeah.
I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I know. But
so, I mean, because if they have to intrigue you, they have to impress you. Dick and pussy don't have nothing to do with intriguing you. Is you get in there, you get it.
No, I don't know about that one.
It's a package.
It's a package.
How can it be a package? But how can it be a package if they just bed?
Well, so
does it matter?
This is. I don't know about y'all, but I can only speak for me. So when I hear in your head, this is what I think, and usually for me, I can't tell if a woman's like really, really in my head until we break up. That's the true test. Because when you break up and then you hear certain songs on the radio and you be like, damn, and it kind of stop you for a second, like, oh, well, that makes me think of XYZ and all this. Or you see even maybe certain colors or hear certain things or whatever. That's, to me, that's in your head. Like in the... what is that movie? The Tina Turner movie. I love that movie. But the part where, I don't know if y'all saw it, but the part where she was getting ready at the end, she's in the dressing room, and he was like, "You can't leave me." He was like, "I'm in here." He was like, and then when I was little, when I saw that, I thought,
What?
damn, that's crazy. Like, what is he talking
Right.
about? But he was right. And even in his death and even in her moving on, he is in there because she did a documentary recently and she still has, I know this is an extreme situation, it's like abuse involved, but she still has like nightmares and things like that because of that relationship. So that's in your head. I mean,
Yeah, that's in your
for
head,
life.
for sure.
I mean, you can't,
Right.
you know, that
Yeah,
kind
but
of.
that's like,
for
like you
different
said, an
reasons.
extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an extreme
Yeah.
circumstance. See, Lowe's had that. You only miss it when it's gone in your head. But it's very difficult to, like, you can really blur those lines. Like, there's some people, like college days. These are people I just want to have sex with.
Yeah,
Like,
just
I'm,
be the- yeah.
you're not
Uh-huh.
in my head. It's just I had a lot of fun and I want to do it again. Do I want to take you to a movie or spend my money on you?
Think about you.
Not
yeah.
really. I
Uh-huh.
don't really want to do that. I mean, we can go to Jack in the Box or something, get the $5 snack box,
Not Jack in the
but
Box.
that's about it. It ain't no dating.
Yeah, I think to me, if somebody's in your head, you do little things that maybe even if you're not in a relationship, that would be relationship like. Like maybe you cook them their favorite meal, or you like, get them something that you know they really like. If to me, that's in your head. Like
Yeah.
versus, it could be I could be having sex with you 5 days out the week. But if I'm not doing any of those things, then you're not in my head. It's just sex.
It's like being convenienced. If I can allow you to inconvenience me, then
yeah, that's
you're
true.
in my head.
That is
In my
true.
head.
Because the
Yeah.
person that's
I
in my
agree.
bed, if
Yeah.
they hit me up and she's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I got a flat tire," I'm like, "Well, shit, don't you have AT&T insurance on your phone? You got
Right,
somebody
you can't call
that."
AAA?
Roadside assistance,
Yeah, you got
AAA.
AAA.
Yeah.
I know the phone bill sometimes, guy. You might want to call them. Like, I'm not going to do that.
And see, yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with this. Honestly, I'm
Uh-oh.
struggling with this a little bit because I think it's somewhat hard to separate. It's easy to say we can separate bed from head because we're not in that situation.
I've been in it.
But yeah, you've been in it when you were in your early 20s, late teens, because you've been married.
Yep.
Pretty much the remainder of it.
Married since 25.
Since 25. So, like for us that are still single, is it that easy to just put somebody in the bed and they don't get in the head? Is it that easy?
I don't.
It could be.
I'm trying to think. Is it easy? It's possible. It's definitely possible. But I think, I don't know. So there's different degrees of them being in your head. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think nowadays it's more common for there to be someone just in your bed and you're both perfectly okay with that. But it's like an agreement. It's like we've actually agreed that this is what we're doing, but we're not necessarily saying that you absolutely cannot get in my head. It's just right now we in the bed. And if something pops off, okay, sure, but that's not necessarily the interest.
I think the bed will change too, though. If you call a guy up and you say, "Hey, can you come over here tonight?" And he say, "No, I'm going over to Sarah's house tonight."
That's an honest man. You probably going to get that
Right.
answer.
That's
Yeah, that
honest
is.
man.
Yeah, 'cause
That's
most
honest
people wouldn't
man.
come out and
but
say
if
that.
it's
Yeah.
just bed, he
It
should be
shouldn't
able
matter.
to say that. Yeah, he
Yeah.
should be able to say that. That's the
That's
true
the problem.
test.
Yeah,
That's
I
a good
agree.
point right
Yeah,
there.
that's
Yeah,
the
that's
true
true.
test of if they're in your head. Because if you feel some kind of way,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, because you'll be feeling some sense of rejection a little bit. Because if they just in the bed, you should just say,
But
Okay.
see, if it's a known agreement, you're going to know your day.
but what if he
Damn.
booked your day with somebody else?
If it's a
Yeah,
known
then that might
agreement,
be-
that won't happen. And if the bed is good, that won't happen.
Uh-oh.
That's what-
Confidence right
Whoa.
there.
I'm
Hey,
just
don't
saying
say that.
that,
Say
it
that.
won't happen.
But see, that's Tracy thinking
Well-
she's in his head.
No, it's not
Yeah,
even.
'cause
No, it's
he's
not even
thinking
that.
Nah,
This
that's
is
Tracy
just-
saying, I put that down. He going to be here on
not
Saturday.
even
Right.
that.
This is our day.
Saturday at 8 p.m., that dude gonna be at my door.
But isn't that the whole thing of the podcast? In the head and the bed? Because
Yeah.
if she is thinking that he's not going to commit to nothing else, she's thinking she's in his head too.
It's not that he's not going to commit to anything else, but he will not commit to anyone else. Anyone else.
That's more
on that
Sexually,
day.
or-
That's
More
right.
like a relationship.
Nah, that's
it's not.
confidence right there,
It's
man.
not a relationship.
That's more like a relationship.
It's
Tracy.
not a relationship.
So you think
But-
that's confidence, Colin?
I think it's confidence. Like, as a man, we all know. Let's just be 100% honest here. As a man, we all know if we put it down or not. We do.
Yeah, you can tell by the after. Or
Yes, you can always tell. Like, you know, as a man, we also know we have days where we're like, damn, I don't know if I'm going to get a call back tonight. I didn't really do my best. And, you know, it happens. So, but when you know that you dropping it off, it's going to come back. And it's not an issue.
But you know that. She may not know that.
Yeah. See, this is one thing
That's
I do.
not she may not
No.
know.
May not know. You know you put it down in your head.
But no, you
But-
can
But-
tell.
It's a perception.
But you guys can tell if she gonna come back. I think y'all can tell
Yeah,
if
you
she's
can.
gonna
You
come
always.
back.
And
Yeah,
I'll
listen.
be honest. I've had some not come back, and I've been fine with that because in my mind I was like, yeah,
This is just a.
I was,
quick
I was,
thing,
I was a little way too tipsy. You didn't get the best of me. I'm sorry, but I didn't take it personal. You know, I might see you walking. I'll be like, oh hey,
man,
hey,
what's
that's all
up?
I need. I'm good because I understand.
Yeah.
I would do you the same way you did me. Because I had a few where I'll be like, I expected way better from you based on how we were acting.
Right,
at the
right,
club.
right. You
we
think
were
that
good.
it's gonna be-
yeah. And then I go home, I'm disappointed as hell, looking at you like, you gonna get your ass up? You know, you look at him like,
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something about females though. That could have been as a result of you.
You know, you're right. It could have.
She may have gotten home, be like, oh no, it ain't even worth
You know
me
what?
giving it my best.
You are absolutely right. It
It ain't
could.
worth giving her this.
It could.
But I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. But for females, I think it's a lot of things. Even so, John, you do have a point because even for females, even if it is just bed, there's got to be something. Like I said, there's got to be something in the head that
Makes you keep coming back.
makes me think about coming back. Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's something intriguing. Like
But that's
you can't be
assuming-
just some bum.
Yeah.
But that's
I think-
assuming females don't just want sex. There's a lot of women that just want to get knocked down.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
those women do exist. Like you,
Absolutely.
I feel like dating when you're older, like from what I've seen, it seems like a lot of people are way more forthcoming when you get older. Like it's like you
Yeah,
said,
they don't want to waste time.
Yeah,
okay, we're
no
not wasting time
wasted,
here.
right.
Yes. So I feel like
Are
it's a
you
little bit
game or
easier.
not?
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
in the world today, are people going back for trash dick and trash pussy?
No.
No.
Trash.
They
It's
not.
too easy
Yeah.
accessible.
They
They're
don't
not going
have
back.
to go back
So
for
if
trash
they-
because there's plenty that's not.
My belief, let's put my belief on there. If they are going back, in some regards, they are in your head because it makes you think like, damn, they was good. Or, damn, I felt good the way when they did that. I don't care if you have a weekly schedule, you're not going to schedule trash.
Right.
Yeah, true.
But that doesn't mean that they're in your head. Or, yeah, it
Like,
really
Well, what are
doesn't.
they in?
They're just a
Well.
thought. Like, okay, let's think about it like this.
Y'all tell me what are
No,
they
no,
in?
no.
If you
Yeah. Okay.
scheduling,
But-
if you scheduling it, what are
But
they
let's
in?
say you like a person that has a cheat meal, or you know, you like might
Friday's
like
your
pizza.
cheat day.
Yeah, yeah. you like sugar cookies, right?
Right.
So the sugar cookie isn't dominant in your head. It's
Right.
just-
You just know
it's a
Friday.
crave.
I'm getting it. Right.
So you have a craving for sex, and you want that craving fulfilled.
I agree with you. Now, if Friday's your cheat day, and you know you're gonna get that sugar cookie. You may not think about it Saturday through Wednesday, but when Thursday comes,
I'm ready for my damn cookie.
but you're not getting it to Friday. It's in your head. You thinking about
Right.
how good that cookie is.
It's gonna
I
be
can't
tomorrow.
wait until tomorrow before I get it. And then Brittany bakes a bad batch of sugar cookies. She put flour in there, a double cup of flour opposed to a cup of sugar.
Damn.
You be like, shit, I don't want this shit no more.
You done broke up my schedule.
I'm gonna tell her, I'm like, hey, these cookies, you don't make me go somewhere else and smoke
Right.
Like, hey, pick up some cookies on
I'm
the way
trying to
home.
stay here.
Let's try some chocolate chip next week. Let's try some chocolate chips. Some
But-
potato chips.
I think there are some people, and again, this is kind of extreme situation, but I think there are some people, probably more so men than women, I would think, that their goal from the beginning is to get in your head knowing that they don't ever want to go down that road. And I think sometimes people can be fooled by that on both sides, men and women. I think sometimes there are people who set out to do that. You know, they're like, okay, I'm just going to hit it and I'm going to put them on them real good. And then, you know, that's it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it's a game. It's like a thrill
for the situation. Because, I mean, you still have to put in some work.
Yeah.
On both parts. If you want, like, even if they are just a bad piece, if you want them to consistently be that bad piece, you're going to have to put in work to make them come back.
So you're trying to get into their head.
Oh.
I don't even know that it's that. So I don't even know that it's still getting head. But there has to be something worth coming back. Because like you said, we're not going to go back to trash. None of us are.
Yeah.
So there has to be, the sex has to be good enough
to make you think
about it.
To make
it come back.
To make you think about it.
It's not a think about. It's a craving.
But think about the sex. But not think about like cooking you dinner on Thursday.
Yes, that's two different.
That's different.
But that's not necessary.
That's another level.
But the thing is, because you're not cooking somebody dinner or doing something of that sort does not necessarily mean that you're not in their head.
So do you have you're trying to attach an emotional feeling to something that is only physical. See, I think that's where me and Tracey are at, where it's like, just because I thought about you don't mean I really give a damn about you. Like, I'm sorry, let's just throw this out there.
But that's true.
If, just say we smash and I like to smash, and let's say you get hit by a bus tomorrow.
But lust
I'm going to be like, damn, I got to find another piece of ass to hit. I'm not going to be like,
I'm not that extreme.
Oh my God.
That's unfortunate.
Right, that's an extreme case, but just to try to separate
You're not going to the funeral.
I'm not going to the funeral. I'm not sending a card or flowers.
Damn.
You was just some ass. Like that's all it was.
Doesn't craving bring about some type of feeling, emotion?
It could after a certain point. After a certain point, it could.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah, I think there's a certain
threshold. And I think
threshold.
you choose. So at that point, for a female at that point, you have to choose. Because if you know that this is only physical, and now you're getting attached emotionally, do you really want to take yourself down that road? Getting attached emotionally to someone that is only physical? So you either really continue and be miserable, hoping that they'll become emotional, or you cut it off.
Or just
and you find your neck. Yeah. But it warrants a conversation.
Yeah. Yes.
Because when you get to that point, because females get attached. I mean, anybody really that has sex.
Men get attached too, though.
Yeah,
you're having sex, you're going to get attached.
It's both.
Because you can always have I feel like if you go to the same bed over and over, you're going to get a connection at some point. Yeah, and then that's when you have to look over and say, okay, so is this all we're going to do?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you can kind of tell, because sometimes it might start like that, and you can, like you said, you're only on a weekly schedule once. But then you get bumped up to 2.
Right.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Now I'm used to 2.
All right. So then you get bumped up to 3. So now, instead of only seeing me when it's dark, hey, did you want to go grab a bite to eat? Did you want to hit up happy hour? That's when you start asking the questions of, hey, are we dating? Because if we are, let me know. And if we are dating, are we going to be exclusive or not? Yeah. Because if we're not exclusive, that means that's like a serious dating type of thing. And that does warrant a conversation. Like, you can't assume because you're being taken out and things like that you're now in that relationship.
Right.
Yeah. But I know a lot of men will kind of give you an action more than a question. We're not going to ask you, hey, so are you my girlfriend now? No. We're going to start adding you to the calendar a little bit more, adding you to that, and then hopefully we're waiting on the woman to say, hey, so what are we? And that's okay. Yeah. I think the problem happens when you steal a once-a-week schedule and you come at me with the, so what are we? What we are now is done. Because nothing ever changed. You're always here at night. You always going before the sun rise up. You ain't got no business asking me what we are.
Overnight.
Right, you're not even staying. Your Uber was outside 10 minutes ago. And you wasting time and money right now. Get out and go. So I think we kind of, men, I know we build up. Like, we'll start seeing you more. We'll start doing things more. But I think a lot of times that time frame isn't fast enough for most women, and then they come in hot with questions, and that immediately shuts us down.
It down. Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? I was just about to give you date number 2. You done fucked up. Now I gotta move
gonna
on.
add you on Tuesday and Thursday.
Right.
But now,
See?
just Thursday.
You was gonna get a Friday night and you ruined it. Cause now I feel pressure. Cause now I gotta have this conversation and say, well, you know, I'm not really ready. And then he gonna say, well, I've been over here. You know what? You ain't gotta be over no more. It's okay.
Yeah. Is there? I'm curious to see what y'all think of this. Is there a certain number of times where you have the habit of just the sex where an expectation can be on either side of being in the head?
No,
No.
I don't think so because it's gonna vary. It
I kind of think it
depends
is.
upon and I think it depends upon the interaction that you have with that
What you-
person.
yeah.
And
'Cause
the
if it's-
person.
Yeah.
I think to me, what do you say, John?
John say he in your head and your bed. Ain't no in between, damn it.
So let the record show. Normally, I only disagree with Carlos. This is the first podcast ever where I disagree with everybody.
Everybody.
We all wrong. We the only one right.
Let the record show. I disagree with all of them. So y'all listen to what they say. They know.
I feel
funny.
I don't know. I don't know if there's any statistics for this or whatever, but I feel like to me 5 is kind of that magic number.
Damn, 5 is a lot.
Well, it's a lot, but it's also enough where it could be just a few times and then
The newness goes away.
yeah,
The excitement.
yeah. So to me, once you get past 5, that's teetering on in your head territory for either side.
But see, I think
Because that implies the sex is good enough to be 2, 3, 4, and 5.
But it's all about what are you doing when you go get the hookup. You know, are you walking into the place, they already ready, you ready, let's get it, you get up, you leave when they go, or are you staying overnight and all this?
Oh, yeah,
I
well,
think
that
that's
factors.
where
Yeah,
it
yeah.
gets a little blurred. So you can have 15 times of, I come to your place, you ready, I'm ready, let's go, all right, I'm done, you done, bye, and you move on. You can have numerous amounts of times with that. But if you are
But that's
dating,
an action
Intentional,
change, though.
flirting with more, then I think that's where it get a little confusing, and that's where feelings come in.
Yes, and that's an action change. That person is changing their action to let you know that they want more than what we just had.
Yeah.
So again, that, and also you got to think about the person. Like me, I'm an emotional person. So for you to be in my head, you can fly off a pole, swing off of ceiling fans, but if you're not in my head, that's
It's not
all
gonna
you're
mean
gonna be
nothing.
for me.
Yeah.
I need an emotional attachment to have a real relationship.
Yeah.
To have something physical, I don't need that. Like, cause that's why
it's
I'm
just
so
physical.
cut and dry when it comes to that. When it comes
Yeah.
to physicalness, that's what that is. Sex is sex, point blank for me.
Yeah.
And to go anywhere farther than that, I would actually need to take the time to get to know you. Because, I've said it plenty of times, I'm always been emotional. That's how I'm going to be. That's who I am.
Yeah.
I ain't never ashamed of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, nothing wrong with
it's, with sex, with the physical thing, that's all you are to me. Like, if I ever had sex with you and it was just sex, that's all it was.
All it was.
You were never on my mind. You weren't on my head. You were just in my bed. That's
So
it.
you don't flirt with more. And what I mean by that, I have a homeboy who gets into trouble all the time with females. And what he does is, in his head, it's just a hookup. But he'll go have Netflix and chill nights with them. He'll go have dinner with them.
No, see.
Nah,
but
buddy.
That's
but
too
for
much.
him,
If it's just a
in
hookup,
his
that's too
head,
much.
No.
he's just being
Nice.
nice.
Yeah.
But for them, it's a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I know that you said that you are an emotional guy when you were doing this type of stuff.
I would feel some type of way. Chick taking me out and you just want to smash me and leave? No, we going to have a conversation, lady.
Right.
So, but when you were the guy doing it, did you just hit it and leave, or did you flirt with?
No, I always
More.
made myself very, very clear. I've always made it clear. So if I dropped the line like, damn, I'm hungry, I'm about to go eat, that really wasn't a hint for you to say, oh, I'm going to go with you. No, I'm just thinking out
myself.
loud. You know what I mean? We just finished smashing, I want something to eat. Now, I'll let it be known, like, if she, well, I'll go with you. I'll be like, well, hold on. You can roll, but just understand this is just what this is.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had a lot of success with just being honest. You
Yeah.
can do some crazy shit just with a little
Just
bit of honesty.
being honest,
All you gotta do is be
right.
honest. Because
Yeah.
then you can never have blurred lines which cause problems.
Right.
Yeah.
Just say what it is.
Yeah, that's
If you
true.
want to watch a movie, cool, but don't think it's more than we really just watching this damn Netflix series. That's
Right.
it.
Right.
And it better just be an episode or two, because any other
We're not binge watching.
we're not binge watching.
We are tonight. I ain't gonna be here episode 6 and it's 4
Right.
o'clock in the morning.
Right.
If Netflix has to ask, "Are you still watching?" I better be doing something.
Right.
Right.
I
They
better
won't
not
be
be able to
talking
click
to
that
you.
OK button. Yeah, they can't do that.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. So, okay, so in closing, as we always do, for the shot of truth, I'll start with you, Tracy. Ask everybody the same question. So, for someone who doesn't know where they are in this situation, they don't know if they're just the in the bed person or if they're even in this other person's head, like what advice would you give them?
Communicate. 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 Ask the question. If you don't know, then you need to ask the question. You need to start talking. But don't be afraid of the answer, because it may not be the
Yeah.
answer that you want,
Yep.
but you have to ask the question or you will never know.
Facts.
Nice.
Yeah, facts.
True.
I completely agree with that. But also, know when to ask your questions. If it's only been a couple of nights, couple of times,
True.
don't embarrass yourself, because you just that's what's
Right.
going to happen. You're going to embarrass yourself. Don't do that. Just make sure you look at the person's actions. If all you're doing is smashing, there's no need to ask, "What are we?"
That's true.
Because you're going to hear the answer that you ain't going to like. So wait for you to get added to the schedule a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay, well, I believe that if you don't know where you are, you know where you are. And what I mean by that, if you have to question whether or not you're with somebody, you know that you're not with them. I believe if a man wants a woman, he's going to make her his. And if a woman wants a man, she's going to force him into making him his.
Not fair. Not fair.
No.
You're going to
We
catch hell.
will make
Right.
them think
You're
You're
about
one
it.
of them videos
They gonna
trying to
be coming
explain
for you on
yourself
that
soon.
We just make you think about it. That's all.
Right.
You got
Drop a
to
little seed.
wonder your position in somebody's life. You probably don't have a position.
Put that on a t-shirt.
agree.
I love
On
that.
call.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
That is
If you don't know your position, you ain't even on the damn team.
Right, pretty much. Right. I mean, I agree with all of y'all. Yeah, I would agree with all that. Only thing I would add is if you're questioning it, also think about your motives, because some people don't necessarily want to take things further, but they still want to be the in the head person. If you know that you don't want to ever take it there with that person, then it shouldn't matter whether you're in the head or not. But it's a lot of people I feel out here that they do that. They want to be the in the head person, but they don't even want to be with you. So just make sure
Yeah.
you check the motives for yourself too. But yeah, that's it.
Ooh.
It's a wrap.
And again, for the records, I don't agree with none of their asses.
Oh, shit.